Hello and welcome back to the final module of the TOGAF 9.1 EA Framework Overview course. This module is dedicated to exploring some significant components of TOGAF framework not covered thus far in the course. In particular, we will be looking at TOGAF Content Framework, TOGAF Content Meta Model, the Architecture Repository, and Enterprise Continuum. And finally, we will recap everything that we have covered so far in the course. So first, the content framework. TOGAF Content Framework is an enterprise architecture ontology that is designed to be compatible with the TOGAF ADM. In other words, it defines what classes of artifacts and content one can expect to see when an enterprise architecture capability based on TOGAF starts operating. TOGAF offers this built-in ontology that is purpose-built with TOGAF ADM in mind so that TOGAF can be used as a self-contained framework without relying on any other framework that offers a structured content model. However, it is possible that a given enterprise, for various reasons, may want to use another enterprise architecture ontology. For example, say Zachman framework. TOGAF is quite flexible to accommodate this. In that sense, the content framework is more like an extension of ADM, which could potentially be swapped out with another similar framework. As we have seen in previous modules, where we explored ADM, every phase has its own outputs as a result of the activities performed within that particular phase. The outputs could be as varied as roadmaps, project plans, matrices, catalogs of architecture, or solution building blocks, contracts, compliance assessments, and so on and so forth. Essentially, the content framework categorizes all these content into three categories, namely a deliverable, an artifact, a building block, where a deliverable is a contractual work product that has been agreed to be produced at a certain stage in the process of the architecture development. This document is reviewed, endorsed, and approved by stakeholders to demonstrate their consensus to the outcomes from the work done thus far within the ADM cycle. An artifact describes an architecture from a specific viewpoint. For example, a list of requirements, a deployment view of an application, a network diagram, etc. are all views of the architecture that would be useful for certain classes of stakeholders. Several artifacts will typically be included with each deliverable. A building block represents components of architecture that can be combined with others to create architecture representations, and hence there is potential for these to be reused in multiple architecture descriptions. This could, for example, be a business component, such as, say, a capability or business process, or it could be an IT component, such as, say, a combination of software and hardware that represents a component of enterprise perimeter defense, for example. Building blocks can be of two types. Architecture building block, which represents the conceptual and logical descriptions of reusable components of the architecture. Solution building block represents the physical instances that realizes the architecture building block. So to reiterate once again for clarity, a building block can be of two types, an architecture building block or a solution building block. Building blocks can be represented from the perspective of well-defined viewpoints. Viewpoints are realized through views. Views are composed of artifacts, which can be a catalog, a matrix, or a diagram. An architecture deliverable is composed of many views of architecture suitable for various classes of stakeholders.